Hi, my name is Arnesh Chandra, and I'm from the Edge Enterprise team. And I'm joined here today by my colleague Radia to discuss how you can boost your enterprise security with Microsoft Edge. The enterprise threat landscape is evolving. We are all aware of the new challenges brought by COVID-induced acceleration of move from on-prem to cloud. Securing on-prem infrastructure assumed known locations, monitored networks, managed devices. These assumptions are no longer true in remote scenario. The location is unknown, the network is unmonitored, and sometimes unmanaged devices as well. And we all have to accommodate this new reality because the shift is here to stay. According to a recent IDC survey report, which polled people globally to understand the work from home trends post-vaccination, the projections are that we will see a rise in work from home activities globally from pre-pandemic levels. And this virus has truly broken through cultural and technological barriers that have prevented remote work in the past. So with this new reality in mind, let's talk about how Microsoft security and compliance features and products that have been in this remote work journey for years, even before pandemic, offers a wide array of solutions to help you handle this new reality. Today, we'll talk about some of the features that light up even better with Microsoft Edge. We'll talk about solutions to enable remote access to apps, enforce compliance data access, and how to keep users and devices protected. In short, the focus is going to be on how Microsoft Edge can help you derive more value from existing investments you have in Microsoft 365 security and compliance. So first, let's talk about enabling remote access to apps. While working remotely, there are several challenges to allowing secure access to corporate data. It is critical that only right people with the right resources and secure devices can access your data from anywhere. Microsoft Conditional Access is an intelligent policy engine built for this challenge. It gives you the power to enforce the core principle of zero trust, which is never trust, but verify. Conditional Access takes over 40 terabytes of identity-related security signals, including user behavior, location, state of the device, application being accessed, and the risk score of user sign-in. Using machine learning, this technology analyzes signals and determines the appropriate policy to apply for access to a resource, such as allowing or limiting access or blocking access or additional verification measures. As an example, you can set policies to block access from certain geographies, or you can require an MFA if the user signs in from a new location. Or you can detect and block risky sign-in attempts like user logging in from multiple different geographies in a short period of time. Conditional access is a powerful way to control access to corporate resources when you have a large workforce working remotely. And it is supported natively in Edge to empower your users to be productive wherever, whenever, while protecting the organization assets from unauthorized access. No need to install and manage browser extensions. And it supports users who use a single combined profile for all their personas, or users who use multiple profiles for different use cases. Next up is enforcing compliance for data access using DLP. DLP is part of an overall system of information protection and governance to enforce regulatory compliance for data access. Microsoft offers a full set of tools to help you meet these compliance goals, starting from tools to help you discover and classify sensitive data throughout your network. And once the data is discovered, there are tools that you can use to apply protection like encryption, access restriction, visual markings, etc. And then comes the DLP, which helps prevent accidental leaks of the data or oversharing of sensitive content. And finally, there are tools that help you with data governance like storage and retention in a compliant manner. So today we'll look at the DLP part of this entire suite a little bit more closely. Microsoft Endpoint DLP is natively built into Windows 10, Office apps, and Microsoft Edge. No agent required. It enables seamless deployment and lightweight configuration to help you realize the value of DLP quickly. Just enabling DLP in your compliance portal turns on this feature throughout your enterprise. It's also integrated with Microsoft Information Protection, which supports more than 100 sensitive information types right out of the box. So this is a very powerful tool that is available for your compliance needs. And again, this powerful functionality is built into Edge natively. Helps you enable data compliance, prevent sensitive data from disclosure, and again, no need to install and manage browser extension that could potentially gets broken if a new browser update is rolled out or a security patch is rolled out. So it's always good to have these functionality built in the browser, and the browser vendor is taking care of the regression test before the patch gets released and helping you provide continuous and gapless protection throughout your organization. Having it built in provides a more reliable and performant protection. And the user experience is much more seamless and better than something protecting from outside using an agent. Last but not least, let's talk about protecting users and devices. So just to set the context, according to the recent report that came out last year, data breach investigation report from Verizon, what we find is the top threats that the enterprise is facing today is phishing and malware. And the primary sources of these threats are email and the browser. And since we're talking about browser today, let's talk about how the browser can help you mitigate some of these threats. The first thing here is Microsoft Defender SmartScreen. An independent test performed by NSS Lab found that Microsoft Edge offered the most protection by blocking over 95% of phishing URLs. So this alone can be a reason why Edge browser can improve your overall security posture in the enterprise. And the reason why Defender SmartScreen is so powerful in what it does for phishing protection, that it is informed by trillions of worldwide signals that are collected by worldwide assets that Microsoft has. Our partners all provide a huge amount of signals that is fed into the Microsoft security graph and then channeled through to your browser via this SmartScreen integration. So this is a very powerful way to mitigate your phishing concerns in your enterprise. And as you guessed it, this is already natively supported. No plugins, no nothing. There's an additional feature for SmartScreen for E5 customers that lets them configure URLs that the enterprise specifically wants to block or warn against, and SmartScreen will automatically understand and respect that. With that, I will turn this on to Radia to discuss our browser isolation using Application Guard.
All right. Thank you for that, Ernest. Now I'll be talking about another layer of protection that we offer with Microsoft Edge, which is browser isolation using Application Guard. So from our Windows telemetry, we've learned that 60% of the time spent on a PC is on the web. And the majority of cyber threat vectors include browser use cases in their chain. This means that protecting web browser scenarios is key for a complete security story for enterprises. As we all know, humans are the weakest link in securing the digital perimeter of any organization. A sustained and sophisticated effort can sometimes compromise even the best of us. And that is the reason why desktop browsers remain the primary attack surface on client devices inside the enterprise. So one of the challenges there is how to balance productivity and security at the same time. Now, For one, allowing unrestricted browsing the open internet has risks for the corporate network. Also, restricting access to approved sites only impacts the employee productivity. And the third thing is that it is hard to balance between employee productivity and security compliance. And so, one of the answers to this challenge is browser isolation. And that is something that we offer with Microsoft Edge today using Application Guard. So, what is browser isolation? Browser isolation is a security model that aims to protect enterprise network and devices. And it does so by physically isolating away the end user's browsing activity and its associated risk. It has been named as one of the most effective ways that an enterprise can reduce web-based attacks by Gartner. So, how does Application Guard work? Application Guard is a client-side browser isolation solution. It moves away browser scenarios to an isolated virtualized container on the device. And by doing so, it protects the corporate network from reach via the untrusted sites, which all go on the virtualized container. And it also provides significantly increased protection and hardens a popular attack surface, which is the browser. So the way Application Guard works is that it runs on Hyper-V based isolation. It is natively supported in Edge, and it prevents persistence of the exploit. Today, there are two deployment modes for Application Guard. The first one is enterprise managed. For that one, the enterprise would set up a site list for trusted sites that go on the native browser, and then everything else would go in isolation. The second mode that is possible is standalone. And the way that works is the user would manually open an isolated instance and run their whole browsing there. Now, let me show you a demo of how Application Guard works.
For this demo, I'm going to be showing you how Application Guard works, then I'm going to go over some of our newest features, and then talk about what we're planning for the future. So to get started here, I have an Edge window open on the left side of my screen, and in a new tab, I try to access the website. Let's say morevegetablesplease.com. So I type the URL in the address bar, and because this is considered an untrusted site for the purposes of our demo, as soon as I hit enter, you can see a new Application Guard container loading, and the new Application Guard window opens up with the page in it. So as you can see here, this is differentiated by the shield, by the Application Guard shield here. And if I click on it, it tells me that I'm running inside the container, so my browsing isolated. So while in the Application Guard window, the way this protects you is that even if this site tried to distribute malware or compromise your device, because the browser is in an isolated container, your device and network are still protected. This also works if I missed the IP URL, for example. So going back to my host Edge window, and let's say I want to go New York Times, but I accidentally forget the S at the end. So I type newyorktime.com and I press enter. Again, that page opens up inside the Application Guard container. And so this covers typo squatting scenarios as well. Now, on the other hand, if I try to open a trusted site from within the container, let's say HR Web, what would happen here is that, as you will see, this actually takes me back to the host browser. And so what this shows us here is that Application Guard supports dynamic navigation, where untrusted sites open in the container and trusted sites are automatically directed to the host. Now, the next thing that I wanted to show you here is a feature that we've worked on based on feedback from our customers, and that is support for extensions. So now we enable support for extensions from within the Application Guard window, and I can demonstrate here. So from within the container, I go on the extensions page. That is Edge extensions. I hit enter, and you can see here, you can see I have an installed Office extension here that I can turn on or off. You can see it activated on the address bar, or I can go to the Edge extension store to download more. Customers have also requested the ability to diagnose user-reported issues. So we have created an internals page where users are able to test the trust level of sites. So here, if I go to the Utilities tab, I can enter a URL here and I can test the trust level of this site. And so if our users are facing an issue with the site, say that they expect something to be open on the host and it ends up opening in the container or the other way around, then they're able to test the trust level here. And then from there, IT admins are able to readjust configurations as needed. On the internals page, we also have a logs tab. And on it, you're able to see all the activity from the browser and platform, which can be helpful when debugging or trying to understand a user-reported issue. Now, the last thing that I wanted to show you here is a feature that we've worked on, also based on feedback from our customers. So our users have been asking for favorites to sync from the host to container, which is something that we now support and you can enable in your policies. So here on my host browser, if I go on twitter.com, for example, and I want to add that to my favorites. So I just go ahead and add it to my favorites, done, and then you can see it was added on the right side here as well. Now if I remove it again, remove, you can see it's gone. So that is something that's now supported from the host to the container. So with all of this in mind, I wanted to give you a heads up on what you can expect from us in the future. We heard from our customers that it can be challenging to create and manage a site list, so one of our key focuses is working on facilitating and improving that experience for our users. This would allow for a smoother experience when deploying and using Application Guard. So that is something that you can look forward to hearing from us about soon.
Now I hand it back to Ernest.
So that was great, Radia. Thanks. So to summarize, let's recap what we talked about today. Microsoft Edge helps you maximize your M365 security and compliance value with native support for Azure AD conditional access, native support for Microsoft Endpoint DLP, industry-leading Microsoft Defender SmartScreen, which is also natively supported, and also native support for browser isolation using Application Guard. So we hope this was useful information and helps you understand how you can derive more value out of your existing investments using Microsoft Edge. And thanks for watching.
Thank you so much.